querida audiencia, buenos días a un nuevo podcast de Red Alimentaria. Mi nombre es Katy Nivelo y el día de hoy estaré acompañándolos. Hoy es un podcast bastante especial y esperado. Tenemos como invitado desde la India al señor Ricky Thaper, que viene a hablar un poquito sobre la avicultura de la India, y voy a estar acompañándolas para poder conducir esta entrevista en inglés o en Spanglish, en lo que nos salga el día de hoy. Déjenme presentarles un poco sobre quién es nuestro invitado el día de hoy. El señor Thaper es el vicepresidente honorario de la Asociación de Productores de Pollos de Engorde del norte de la India y es el tesorero actual de la Federación Avícola de la India. A lo largo de su carrera de más de 35 años en todo el rubro de la avicultura, ha asistido a varios cursos y programas especializados alrededor del mundo. De hecho, es difícil seguir track de la agenda del señor Thaper y nos hemos encontrado en varios de los congresos que él asiste. Su dedicación a las comunidades avícolas ha permitido que el día de hoy Red Alimentaria esté conectado con la avicultura de la India a través de las jornadas avícolas que organizamos junto con el doctor Isidro Molfese. Hemos podido conectar con el señor Thaper, quien mantiene esta comunicación muy activa entre asociaciones y el intercambio de la industria de la avicultura con el mundo. Su dedicación activamente a los animales, al cuidado animal y el entusiasmo por el sector avícola le ha sido valido por muchos premios. Y un dato bastante interesante, proporciona al equipo de análisis de inflación del Banco de la India datos sobre los futuros precios de la carne, de los precios de las aves, y tiene intercambios bastante regulares sobre temas inflacionarios. Así que bueno, sin más presentaciones, quiero dar la bienvenida a Ricky. Welcome, Ricky, to this new podcast episode. We are very honored to have you today. Thank you very much for your time, for being here. Here in Buenos Aires, we are in morning. It's 8:30 a.m. in the morning. I think it's kind of a little late for you back in India, right?
Yeah. Good morning to you and greetings from India to you and all your listeners of this podcast. My name is Ricky Thaper and I am the treasurer of Poultry Federation of India, which is the foremost national level organization established in the year 1988, being the voice of Indian poultry industry. Poultry Federation of India is constantly working and committed towards the protection, welfare, and the overall growth and development of the poultry sector. The mission of Poultry Federation of India is to preserve, promote, and encourage the activities of entire stakeholders, including poultry farmers, veterinarians, breeders, processors, consumers, and other allied field related to the poultry, either directly or indirectly. Poultry Federation of India raises a concern with central government, state governments, and other authorities, which the sector faces in their day-to-day, and do its best to safeguard the interest of all the stakeholders of poultry industry. Additionally, Poultry Federation of India also works for protein malnutrition to eradicate that in India, as India is still a protein deficient country. It creates awareness among local mass about the amount of protein to be consumed by person per day. It holds 1-to-1 day seminar in various Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 cities to educate people the way to monitor their daily protein intake. Like we say, 1 kg equal to 1 gram of protein one person should daily have. So we try to educate with the help of doctors, with the help of dietitians. We organize seminars just to educate the people how protein is necessary for their body. Whether it's for non-vegetarian, it's a chicken or fish or it's a mutton. And similarly for vegetarian also, they go for like soya milk, soya nuggets, soya flour, other things. So intake of protein is important. And today chicken is the cheapest source of non-vegetarian protein if you compare to any other protein. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it must be such an something to overcome since India is a very populated country. So it is a concern for the federation to be aware of how much protein you have for your whole country and to keep track to give protein to your population. Would you like to talk about a little more about the federation, if it's involved in any national program or something like this?
Yeah, just to give an idea about Indian poultry industry, today Indian poultry sector has played a very crucial role in meeting protein and nutrition needs of a vast section of population. While the production of agriculture crop has been rising at the rate of only 1.5 to 2% per annum, that of poultry industry, which includes egg industry and the broiler industry, has been rising at a rate of 6 to 8% per annum. Over the past few decades, it has evolved into a mega industry, positioning India as a major global producer of egg and broiler meat. Today, India has transformed their poultry farming industry through major investments in breeding, hatching, rearing, and processing of chicken. If you have any idea, today India is the second largest producer of eggs, which is 138.30 billion, and the fifth largest producer of poultry meat, which is 4.47 million tons. But the per capita availability of egg is still less if we compare to many countries. Today, the per capita availability of egg in India is only 91 eggs per annum, and the average per capita consumption of meat is only 5.7 kg per gram. So, which is very less if we compare to international standards. Today we require approximately 27 million metric ton of poultry feed to feed these our broiler chickens and layer chickens. The increase in average income and the urban population has led to the tremendous increase in poultry demand and steady increase in consumption over the last few years.
I imagine that since it's growing so much, the industry, you have to face so many challenges and you have so much opportunities inside the industry. Would you like to tell about what are the challenges about to overcome since the growth
Yeah.
and the eggs production, and also what are the opportunities in this context?
Yeah, as still this poultry is a growing industry, so like any other industry, we also have to face challenges. Today, poultry producer and processor are streamlining supply chain operations to minimize waste and ensure timely distribution. Advanced logistics and transportation management system facilities facilitate the efficient movement of poultry products from farm to consumers. The transportation of bird has to improve for reducing mortality. For the processing industry, refrigerated van as well as availability of cold storage facility at the retail would improve the quality of poultry products available in the country. Right now, we are still lacking in the cold chain, which day by day or month by month we are trying to improve that. The growing awareness regarding health and wellness is further driving the demand for a protein-rich diet. The shift in demand for live bird to fresh chill and frozen poultry product has been slow. Today you will be surprised to know that India is basically a wet market and only 8% of poultry meat product in the country is processed, which is likely to increase up to 20% in the next few years. So opportunity expanding processing facilities for poultry meat would see a huge growth with consumer demanding ready to eat chicken delivered at home. Like more and more McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Subway, these chains are coming. So more demand for processed chicken is coming up. So now there are in the pipeline few companies, integration companies, which are in the process to establish this processing plant. And we hope that in next few years, the processed chicken availability will be further smooth. But right now, as I mentioned, India being a live chicken market, only 8% is a dress market, rest is all live chicken sold.
Well, it's very interesting what you're telling about, and then imagine that with this growth and with the insert of these companies, the government must be have an active role. Would you like to tell us what is the government role into the chicken industry in the India?
Yeah,
Does
this
the
is
government works with your federation?
yeah, this is a very good question. The government of India has been very supportive for the growth of poultry industry through several initiatives like dedicated funds for setting up units, disease surveillance, and providing support and ensuring supplies of animal feed for the sector. The World Organization of Animal Health has approved India's self-declaration of freedom from highly pathogenic avian influenza in specific poultry compartments. To support the livestock sector, the Government of India has also initiated several measures. The Animal Husbandry Department Infrastructure Development Fund is being implemented. The key objective of this scheme is to fulfill the objective of protein enriched quality food requirement of growing population of the country and prevent malnutrition. The support is also provided for meat processing and value addition infrastructure and establishment of animal feed plants, including poultry feed. The National Livestock aims at the development of entrepreneurs in the rural development. So, Poultry Federation of India and all other associations, they really appreciate the support we are getting from Animal Husbandry Department from Government of India. So, they are very positive. Like I would like to add here, our Prime Minister of India says we want to double the farmer's income. So, farmer income can be only doubled through LED industries along with the agriculture. Farmers cannot depend only upon agriculture. So along with agriculture, the farmer has to start either poultry farming or dairy farming or fish farming, aquaculture. So government is very supportive and very positive to help agriculture farmer to diversify into poultry, dairy and aquaculture. Increase in production of poultry meat is likely to be achieved by expanding the coverage of poultry farms, modernizing existing facilities, and adoption of efficient production practices. The growth of the sector will depend on factors such as change in demand pattern, technology adoption, favorable government policies, among others. Developing efficient distribution with large investment in cold chain infrastructure and proper high capacity processing plants of international standard is a need of the hour. As I mentioned earlier, we are still lacking in cold chain facilities, which the government is supporting by giving soft loans also, and also giving subsidies for putting up a cold chain plants. So we are very hopeful that the industry is growing at the 7 to 8% per annum, and it will keep growing. In addition to soybean meal, the poultry sector also requires a maize as a key ingredient of poultry feed. However, like there are some challenges also. The government is now also aiming to produce ethanol from maize instead of sugarcane, which may result shortfall in domestic supplies, which would meet demand of both poultry as well as biofuel sector. So we have also made representation to Government of India that they should allow Indian farmers to import soybean meal as well as genetically modified GM maize from the other countries. So because now earlier only corn was being used by poultry industry and livestock industry. Then starch industry also put up the demand for corn. Now ethanol industry is also demanding. So there has been 15 to 20% increase in the price of maize. So for which we have requested government of India that they should allow us and they should reduce the duty. Right now duty on corn import is 50%. So we have requested to reduce it to 15%. So we are hoping that government will allow us to import soybean meal as well as corn so that there is no inflation in rates, because poultry feed is a 65% in the cost of production of a broiler. So if the feed prices will increase, the cost of production will of broiler which increase, which will add to the inflation. So we are very hopeful that in the coming months, the government will take a positive decision.
Yeah, for sure. You need to be heard in order to grow. And are there expectations for exporting? Do you think that if you overcome all these challenges and you keep the inflation low for chicken, Will India be able to export chickens or eggs?
Our export percentage is very less. As per Agriculture and Processed Food Product Development Authority (APIDA) data, India exported around 255,686 ton of poultry products, which would value at only 58.7 million US dollars. Traditional export destination has been neighboring countries like Oman, Maldives, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Though both the quantity and the value of exported processed poultry have increased from last few years, but it's a very small if we compare to the global trade. India's export concentrated is only in certain clusters like Middle East and South Asia. You see, India is itself like a continent, big country. Like earlier I mentioned, its per capita is only 91x. So we have to increase the per capita consumption. Similarly, we have to increase per capita consumption of broiler also. So what we think that even if that's why we are trying to create awareness that if the local demand increases for consumption of eggs and chicken, we require much more growth, what we are doing. So as far as exports are concerned, we are doing a very nominal quantity.
Would you think that some of this experience can be is helpful for the Latin market? What are you related to the Latin market? What can you tell to the Latin market that are into poultry industry?
This chicken meat and eggs are the healthier alternatives to red meat, driving up the demand for chicken. Poultry products are often more affordable than other protein sources, making them accessible to a broader segment of the population. In the post COVID 19 pandemic phase, now the demand of protein rich food like poultry, meat, and eggs have further increased. And as I mentioned earlier, India is growing at a pace of 8 to 9% poultry industry. But if we talk about the agriculture, it's growing only 2 to 3%. So what we see in the coming few years, there will be a mismatch for the demand of supply of soybean meal and corn to the poultry and livestock industry. So for that, we have to look towards South America and North America for supply of corn and soybean meal. Because if you talk about corn in Argentina, Brazil, and US, their rates are much competitive. So if Indian government reduces duty, so we look forward to import soybean meal and corn in the next maybe few months or few years, depending upon the government policies.
And is the growth of the poultry industry only in India, or would you think it's worldwide?
It's worldwide. But you see, nowhere it's like 8 to 10%. Maybe in Europe it's 3 to 4%. In some country it might be 5 to 6% or 2 to 3%. But if you talk about India, still per capita consumption of egg and chicken is much less if we compare to the European and US standards. So scope is there. See, as I mentioned earlier, post-COVID, now the medical doctors are also recommending patients and other that to keep fit, you have to take protein. So for protein, they have to take egg and chicken. So the consumption, because you see, if you recommend anybody to go for egg and chicken, it's good for health. He or she may or may not be. But whenever a doctor, medical doctor recommends, people follow them strictly. So with the recommendation from Indian Medical Association and doctors to have a protein-rich diet, the consumption of chicken, eggs, fish, mutton have increased in India.
Yeah, for sure. For here in South America, also after COVID, we have learned some few lessons. One of them is that nutrition is for sure the base of health, and in this talk, the consuming of eggs, as you said, it's been increasing. Um, well, Ricky, it's been very nice to have you. Thank you very much again for your time. It's very interesting to know how the poultry industry in India is growing and the challenges that you have, because for sure are some of the challenges that we have in Latam too. And to overcome them, it's nice to hear the experiences that you've been through and how to overcome them. So I'm very much appreciate that you're being here. I thank to our audience. I hope the 21 countries that are listening can learn a little about what you said. And thank you very much.
Thanks to you. It was nice talking to you, and it was good to share with your viewers, with your audience about the Indian poultry industry. Thank you very much. Have a
And
good day.
It was very nice to finally put a face to the emails.
All right. Thank you, and namaskar from India.
Thank you. Have a good night and have a good day for
Thank you.
our audience. Bye-bye.